The clap. Welcome everyone. Conscious Parents, Conscious Kids, an intro, free, whatever it turns out to be, Zoom.
Free? We're doing
Mr. Brendon Watt. I know. You're too kind to us.
I'm joking. So welcome guys. Thank you for joining. This is just an intro into CPCK, the Conscious Parents, Conscious Kids. We'd like to get it out there. It's been something that we've had in access for ever since I've been around. The book, I think the Conscious Parents, Conscious Kids book was written by a bunch of parents years and years ago, more than 10 years ago. And it's something we've been looking at building because it's one of the things, for all of you out there as parents will know, that it's one of the things that we complain about most. It's one of the things we judge ourselves about the most. It's one of the things that we just seem to struggle with in some way. So most parents will, judge themselves constantly that they're not doing a good job parenting. You do, yes, all the time. But it's like, but Conscious Parents, Conscious Kids, it's not about getting parenting right, okay? Because for a lot of us, I know for me, when my son was born, he's now 14, it's like I read all the parenting books and I studied how to be a parent. How do I be the perfect parent? And it's like, but in that, I had to judge myself constantly when something I was choosing didn't match what the parenting book said. Now, even with babies, it's like, okay, you have to do X, Y, and Z with the baby in order for that baby to be healthy. The only thing with that is we cut off our awareness to listen to other people's points of view about how to raise our children rather than what do we know about it. Okay, so Conscious Parents, Conscious Kids, and I'm going to just call it CPCK now because it's way easier for me. CPCK is not about getting parenting right. Okay, it's not about finding the perfect system on how to parent because you cannot. You change every day and so do your kids. So it's about the willingness to be aware. It's about the willingness to be in question. It's about the willingness to choose and also see what works best for you and your kids. Okay, so it's also not about teaching your kids to be conscious. That's never going to happen. Okay, teaching your kids to be conscious it's not a reality. It's about showing them that there's a different reality available if they're willing to have it. Okay, it's not about teaching your kids to be somebody that you think that they need to be. Okay, it's about empowering your children for them to be them so that they can navigate a world as them, not as who they've decided they need to be. Okay, how many of you as kids, and by the way, you don't have to be too serious with this topic, okay? We're just talking about parenting. You're like, for me as a kid, it's like I grew up and it was pretty much you would start becoming what you were defined as. So for me, it was, okay, you're growing up in Australia, this is what you need to be. You need to play football, you need to be tough, you need to be rough, and it was all of these ways to mold me into being something that would fit in accordingly to the stereotypes of where I live. How did that work for me? Not very well. So I did that though, and I grew up looking at, okay, how do I maintain these definitions of me so that I can fit in? And this is what a lot of us do as parents. We go, all right, well, I want to protect my kids from being bullied. I want to protect my kids from being teased. I want to protect my kids from being outcast. I want to protect my kids from being taken advantage of. I want to protect my kids. Okay. The only thing with that is you can never protect your kids because that doesn't ever allow them to be them. Okay, this is really about getting you guys to a place where you can choose to be you with parenting, but also empowering your kids that they can choose to be them, as them, whoever that is. Okay, so with that, teaching your kids how to choose. How the hell do you do that? Well, it's not, your kids already know how to choose, and so do you guys. Okay. You got up this morning or tonight, wherever the hell you are in the world. It's like, you know how to choose. You know how to put your underwear on. That's a choice. You know how to take care of yourself. That's a choice. You know how to choose, but it's looking at, okay, what are my choices creating? That's the big part you want to teach your kids. Okay, what did that create? So what I did with my son was I would start talking to him about when I wouldn't stop him from choosing something, but I'd wait until he'd choose it and go, and when he would complain about it, I'd say, oh, cool, so what did that choice create? So that he started saying, oh, I created that, it didn't happen to me. Okay, if you get your kids to that place, they can start looking at, wow, I'm creating my life, even at this tiny age. Because the thing we know and the thing we talk about is kids are not stupid creatures. Okay, you as parents need to listen to this part. Your kids are not stupid, they are smarter than you. They chose you as parents because they knew they could control you. What? Okay, you want to get smarter than your kids if you want any chance at being happy as a parent. Okay, because they know how to get whatever they want out of you. It's like when a baby cries, they cry at the perfect pitch to make sure that you get up and run and do whatever they want. They already know what they're doing when they're babies. We make the mistake as parents of going, oh no, we have to take care of them and they're sweet little creatures. And you might want to maybe change your point of view a little bit, okay? So with this, it's really getting guys to have a bit of ease with it, okay? Get ease with parenting. Does that sound like a little bit more fun than struggle? And I want to kill my children, you know? And that's the other thing is like, there's nothing wrong with having those days where you don't want to be a parent, okay? It's like I did this parenting telecall last year. It was called Parenting Anonymous. And I started the first call with, okay, so how many of you guys have wanted to put your child in the bin, find the heaviest object, put it on top and walk away? And everyone was like, what? And with that though, everyone went, oh, I have actually. And everyone went, oh, I actually have. And I went, guys, that's okay. This is not about you have to pretend that you enjoy this in every moment, because you're going to have moments as parents where you want to get rid of them. That's not a wrongness. So what if you could get out of judgment of that and see the humor in it? See the humor in, okay, I've got a kid, now what do I do with it? You know, I was talking to a friend before and she was telling me this story of, she was at a soccer game and, you know, and there was this 5-year-old kid there and he's got a bottle of Gatorade, you know, the energy, the hydrating drink. And he's standing there and he's tipping it out on the grass. And his parents are losing it at him. Why are you tipping that out? That costs money. You shouldn't be tipping that out. You shouldn't, you know, and they're going crazy at him. And it's like, it's a liquid. What's the difference between that and water? A 5-year-old kid's point of view is, why would I not tip it on the grass? You know, but we try and mold our children into thinking that these things are important, where our kids are like, I thought I was just here to have fun. You know, so you've got to see the humor in it. You've got to see the humor in being a parent, and the least you can take it seriously, then you're going to have a lot more ease with it. The more you can get an allowance of it, you're going to have a lot more ease with it. Okay? So how many of you have decided you need to have happy children? Oh, something's going off. What is that? My fire alarm's going off. My house isn't on fire. So the thing with it's a madhouse of possibilities around here right now. Okay, good. The thing with wanting to have happy children is everything that you choose as a parent has to match what's going to make them happy. How much does that teach them how to be aware? Or do you just give in to them in every moment so that they can be happy and you can be miserable? So let's try this. So what have you made so vital, valuable, and real about having happy children that keeps you in a constant state of judgment of you? Everything that is, times you got zillion, we destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, pod and talk, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. So what have you made so vital, valuable, and real about having happy children that keeps you in a constant state of judgment of you? Everything that is, times a godzillion, we destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, pod and pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. I love doing these parenting calls. It's like talking about relationship. People are like, la, 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 la. Don't worry, it's all good. So the thing with this is really want to get out of this place of you, okay? Want to get out of that place of, well, it's like you, for me now, I still do things as a parent and go, oh, okay, that probably wasn't my best choice. Okay, I could make another choice. And if you get this, if you get the, every choice you make as a parent or with anything in your life is good for 10 seconds. Okay, if you go off the handle at your children and scream at them, you don't have to spend the next 12 hours making it up to them. Okay, you say, you know what, that was a silly choice on my part. I apologize. Move on. Okay, because you're going to teach your kids with that. See, they're going to, especially for the first 6 to 8 years of their life, not 68, 6 to 8, they're going to look to you for how they need to behave. Okay, if you're in this constant state of judgment of you, then they're going, oh, okay, judgment. Okay, they're going to be, kids are highly aware of energy. So just because you don't have words coming out of your mouth, most of the time they can hear what's going on in your world. Okay, so teaching them how to use that energy is being honest with them. Okay, for me when I was growing up, it was, I'd ask, you know, how much did this cost? How much did this cost? How much did that cost? And I was curious about everything. Everything was a question. And with every question, it was shut down with, you don't need to know that. Or it was switched into something else. And I started losing that ability. Well, not losing the ability, but ignoring the capacity I had with energy based on it didn't match what everybody was saying it was. So if your kid's going, you know, if your kid walks into, let me backtrack. For you as a kid, if you walked into a room and there was an upset in that room and you said, and you were aware of that upset based on the energy, and then your parents said, don't worry, it's, you know, and they'd put on a happy face and they'd act happy. So you started misidentifying that energy as happiness. And we do this as kids and we go, oh, well, they say it's happiness, so that energy is happiness. With your kids are going to have that same reality. So if you're having a bad day, say, look, you know what? I'm having a shitty time right now. Can I have a moment? So they go, oh, okay, good. So that they're aware of the energy, you're being honest with them, easy. So everything that brought up, times a godzillion, we destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, pod and pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. Okay, so you guys can ask questions too. As soon as there's 140 of you on here, nice. I like it. What else did I want to talk about with this? I really just want to give you guys a basic outline of this. So it is such a big topic. I mean, for me, I have a 14-year-old son, and I've been doing access and using the tools for 10 years now. And I've learned a lot, not only with parenting, but with everything else. And it's like, for me, when my son was born, I thought, oh, finally, I can teach him to be everything that I was never willing to be. Wow, no pressure. So I'd be like, oh my God, he can be like kinder than I am, and he can be like, and he can know more about money than I can. He can do this, and it's like, no, where did that allow him to be him? So when I started recognizing that that's what I was doing, I started changing. Okay, this is not about going, oh my God, I've got an 18-year-old child and he's fucked up, so now I'm just the worst parent ever. No, that's not what CPCK is about. Okay, you've all done the best you can with the tools you've had, all of you. This is not about looking backwards and seeing where you've done it wrong. Okay, this is not about making up for the damage you've done in the past as a parent. This is about looking to the future. Okay, now what can I create? And I don't know if any of you have noticed, but the world is kind of changing a little bit, or a lot. So it's like bringing these kids up, these next generations of people, it's like bringing them up to not only live in a world and a reality with this constant state of change that requires something different, because I don't know if you guys have noticed also, it doesn't really seem to be working on the planet right now. Kind of going a little downhill. So it's like showing them that they can also be leaders. They can also lead the world into something different. But we as parents also have to be willing to choose that for us. Okay. What I did years ago was when I first started Access, it was, I was unhappy. I was an unhappy camper. And, I used to get up every morning depressed with this 4-year-old child. Hey, Dad, what are we doing today? What are we doing today? And it's like, and I remember going, I want this kid to have a different world. I want him to be able to be him. I want him to be able to keep that happiness. And I looked at it one day and I went, okay, how the hell am I going to show this kid that if I'm not willing to be it myself? And I went, oh, okay, maybe I need to be happy too. But, it's like, it's showing and acknowledging your kids for the difference that they are. Okay, because that's what we really require right now is difference. We've done same, normal for too long, and it doesn't work. Okay, so it's showing them, hey, it's okay to be different. And we've got many different aspects of this with the CPCK stuff on, even things like bullying. Because most kids will be shown, don't be too different because you'll get bullied. I say be as different as you are, and I've got tools to stop the bullying. So it's not about doing this. It's not about putting caps on ourselves and putting limits on ourselves so that we can maintain, so that we can avoid something that hasn't happened yet. Okay, how many of you do that as parents? You will keep yourself to a certain structure so you can avoid what could come that hasn't come yet. Well, I might get judged for this if I'm too much with my kid. Yeah, well, what does might mean? Might means you've already decided a future that doesn't exist, so you have to create your life based on something that could happen but hasn't happened yet. And that's what we do with our kids too, and that's what the education system does also. Okay, we keep you in a certain realm so that you can fit into a reality that functions that way. I say the world's changing, be as different as you are. How different are you, and how can I empower you to be more of that? But also with that, recognize they're going to choose to be who they're going to choose to be regardless. Okay, how many of you were tried to be controlled as children and then just chose to be whoever the hell you wanted to be? And still do.
Hey, Brendon.
Yes.
Can I ask a question?
Go for it.
So I've got a 15-year-old girl and a 13-year-old girl. The 15-year-old tends to do like tons of anger, and to me, like directed to me. She doesn't really do it with her father, but she does it with me. So much to the extent that it's actually like For me, it's like bullying, to be honest. I'm using tools. I'm asking to out-create her, outsmart her, and there's just
laugh at her.
Well, I kind of did that as well.
That help?
She wants to punch me, like.
Good. That's what you want.
She's really fucking cross at me.
Laugh at her again.
Yeah, but she will go to fucking punch me. Like, she will do it.
Well, if she does it, that's when you say, look, if you ever use violence in this house, you'll be out. Okay. So the thing with allowance, okay, is never being a doormat. Okay. You need to make light of the anger, which means no barriers to it, no walls up, because the thing with anger is we'll put walls up to it and we'll go, must keep the anger out, which gives the anger something to focus on and something to bounce into. Okay. So you want to be walls down and just go, and even if the laughter's not working, hey, can I ask you a question? You know, and be vulnerable with, can I ask you a question? And if she says no, don't ask her the question. And then next time she does the anger, hey, can I ask you a question? Until she looks at you like, what the fuck do you want to tell me? And then you go, why are you so angry at me? What have I done to upset you this much that you treat me so poorly? And by the way, if you ever lay a hand on me, you will no longer be welcome to live in this house. Am I clear? But still from that place of caring, from that place of vulnerability, from that place of, hey, I'm here if you want to change this, but I will not be your doormat.
Cool. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.
Yeah, thank you.
Hey, Brendon,
yes.
There's a couple of questions in the chat. Do you want me to read them or do you want to go in and have a look?
You can read them.
So the first one's from Katie, and she wants to know, how do I get my 16-month-old in her own cot or bed? Lol.
You didn't, lol. I'm onto you people when you use these fake lols. You're not lolling. Well, you've got to, ask her also what she desires, but it's like if you've had her in bed with you for 16 months, then it may take a little bit of, it's like, look, there's so many different things with this. And this is one of the things, like for me, it's like, I didn't have a problem with letting my son cry for a little bit. And it's like, and people will say, that's bad, you shouldn't do that. And it's like, okay, whatever. I did what worked for me and that's what worked, you know. And for me, he cried for, he'd cry for 20 minutes every time for a week or a couple of weeks. And then all of a sudden he started sleeping through. Okay. But if she's decided that she wants to sleep in bed with you, good luck, you know, but it's doing it from that place of, okay, let me try some different stuff here. You know, I don't know what you're doing right now to try it, but it's like, but you have to be a little bit patient, and also in the question of, okay, what does she require? Okay, and put her in the cot and, you know, I'm going to say, let her cry for a little bit. And you don't have to do that. It's like, you get to choose that. She's your daughter. So you got to play around with it and see what's going to work for her. And also, it's like, see, the thing with kids, with babies when they're crying is, yeah, often they'll do it to manipulate, because they'll be like, pick me up and just hold me all the time. Okay, fine, Jesus. You know, but it's like, I have a friend who, when she had babies, what she'd do is when they cry, she'd say, do you need your nappy changed? Are you hungry? Do you need me to hold you? You know, and the thing that when they stopped crying on the question she asked, she knew that's what they wanted. And every time it was what they wanted. So it's like, be willing to know that if as you communicate, even with babies, they will be aware of the energy, and you can actually start talking to them from birth. It's not, well, they can't talk, so I don't know what they want. Yeah, you do. It's like, say, okay, do you need your nappy change? Do you need to go to sleep? Do you need food? Do you need... And when they stop crying, it's like, that's the item that they desire that's going to keep them happy, okay? Because they're frustrated that they're in a baby's body. They're infinite beings, okay? All of your kids are infinite beings. They're just in a small body. So they're no different to us. They just have different bodies, okay? They're not little helpless creatures. They're just in little helpless bodies. So it's like, get to that place where you can start, you can communicate with them from a different place, okay? From the energy of, okay, what's this going to take to change? And that's also a thing with your kids, and especially like for you, for example, with her going in the crib on her own, start asking, okay, what's it going to take for this to change? And what do I need to be or do different so that she'll sleep on her own? And do you actually like her sleeping with you? Have you decided that she's at the age where she must sleep on her own? Or is she just annoying the shit out of you sleeping with you? Which one is it? You know, it's like, this is another thing with the CPCK thing, okay? Is it's like, there is no formula to this. You know, I have friends who still have older children who sleep with them. I mean, when I was a kid, it's like, when I was a kid, you know, a teenager, it's like I had this friend of the family, and she had a kid that was, I think he was like 3 or maybe 4. He was full set of teeth, and he was still running around breastfeeding with her, you know. And it's like, but that's what she desired to do. That's what she desired as a parent. So it's not about, okay, this is wrong. But for how many of you do you change the way that you parent when you walk out the front door? You know, I did that. It's like, I started doing that when my son was younger. It's like, at home, everything was easy. You know, I could just be me with him. He could be him with me, you know, and it was just, we were just being together. And then we would go out in public, and I would turn into a father, you know, chest out. And now I'm a father, and I must, more like a wanker, but it's like, you know, and I'd turn into this person who was trying to get parenting right. You know, I changed the whole way that I have ease with him based on who I was willing to be and who he was willing to be into what I should do. You know, and when I started learning that that didn't work, and I started learning that judgment was really not that valuable to me, that I would give up my point of view to avoid being judged. For what reason? You know, and I remember one day I was in the supermarket with him, and he was being a little shit, you know, and he was just having tantrums, and he was lying on the floor, kicking and screaming. And I was like, what am I going to do with this kid? He's driving me crazy. So I laid down on the floor of a packed supermarket and started having a tantrum with him on the floor, you know, fully grown man lying on the floor, screaming and carrying on like an idiot, you know. And he looked at me. I think he was 3 or maybe 4 at the time. He looked at me like, what are you doing? And he never did it again. So it's like, it's looking at what's going to work. Okay, what's going to work with your kids, not what have I learned I should do here. Most people will go, all right, you're grounded, you know, or I'm taking this toy off you. And then it doesn't change, and they keep taking things off them. If something doesn't work once, there's a good chance it's not going to work. Okay, but this is where you have to be in the constant state of change and be willing to go, okay, that didn't work. What else can I choose? What else can I be? What else can I do here to change this?
Hi, Brendon. Can I ask a question? It's about the same age. So I want to ask, my son is 2 years old, and I want to ask why they change at this age. Like, he's now sometimes like a monster. And I
Terrible.
sometimes, sometimes I feel bad because the first years or months, it was so easy. And our relationship was almost perfect now. But now this huge change make me crazy.
I know, honey, but welcome to parenting. You got to change it, okay? Because it's like welcome to parenting. You're gonna have to change as they change, and they'll keep changing. I mean, honey, he's 2. You wait until he hits 12. It's like you got to be okay. He's changing. What do I need to be or do different here to make this work for me also? Okay, because how many of you change yourself to make it work for the child, and then get pissed off because you're making all these changes and it doesn't work for you? Okay, you got to look at what's going to work for you. So, being a 2-year-old, they're going to run around and be crazy. Now, what can I be or do to outsmart this little creature? Now, I'm going to keep talking about this, and I talk about this in all my classes. You have to get smarter than your children. If you don't, they will ruin your life. This is putting it extremely bluntly and extremely frankly, but if you do not get smarter than your children, they will walk all over you. Okay, this is said from experience, a lot of it. It's like you have to be willing to manipulate them. Okay, but also spoil them. You know, give them the things that you want to give them, not, oh, well, I shouldn't give you that because, you know, it's after 6 p.m. or whatever. It's like, if that works for you, do it. And if you do it and it doesn't turn out the way you would have liked it to, that's where you start learning about choice creates. Okay, well, that didn't work. I won't do that next time. Well, that's where you're in the question with it. With a 2-year-old kid, all right, how can I outsmart this kid? Because if it's frustrating you, he's already outsmarted you. If your children are frustrating you, they've outsmarted you. You've got to get smarter.
Gracias.
You're welcome, honey. And enjoy it. Okay, enjoy it. It's like, have fun with it. Laugh at them. They're funny little creatures. Acknowledge them. You want to acknowledge your kids when they're being good, but you also want to acknowledge them when they're being assholes. Okay, this is what most parents don't do, is they go, oh, you're being so good right now. And then when they are not being good, they're in trouble. That's not acknowledging them for being an asshole. You're just punishing them for being an asshole. You can tell them, hey, you know what? You're being really unkind right now. So that they start recognizing, oh, that's unkindness. You're being an asshole right now. You can probably say that to older kids. I mean, I'd say it to a younger kid, but I'm definitely a bad parent. So that's fine.
There's a bunch of questions in the chat here. So
just, while I'm on that bit, let me just do this for a minute. Another thing that's going to make your life a lot easier as a parent is be a bad one. Okay, if you were the worst parent on the planet, how would you function? Because as long as you're trying to be a good parent, you're judging yourself. Okay, a good tool with your kids is when they get pissed off with you and they're annoyed with you because you're not giving them everything they've decided they should have because they're the boss of the family, not you, is, you know what? I am so sorry for being such a bad mother. I'm really doing the best I can, and I know I'm not doing good enough. Manipulation. Who's in control? You, because they go, oh, you're not bad. You're not a bad mother. You know, but then they that then you get to be the one in control based on that. Okay, this is how you manipulate your children. I used to do it with my son. You know what? When he would want something from me that I was not prepared to deliver, and he'd get the shits, I'd say, you know what? I know I'm the worst father on the planet, and I'm doing the best I can, and I also know that that's not good enough for you. Oh, don't worry, Dad. You're a good father. I'm in control. Thank you very much. Is that mean? No. That's called control. Everything that brought up, everywhere you guys are trying to not be mean parents, so you have to be good parents. So you have to judge everything you do to see whether it's good or whether it's mean or whether it's right or whether it's wrong or whether it's going to upset your children or whether it's going to upset your husband. So you cannot ever choose what's going to work because you have to filter it through every single judgment you have. Sorry, translators. Where you destroy and uncreate it. For right and wrong, good and bad, pod and pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. Yes. Sarah, do you want to?
Yep. So there's two here that are sort of similar. So it's sort of about, okay, so I'll just read one. Martha in the Spanish Zoom says her son is 14, how to find a balance between giving him freedom to go out with his friends and keeping him safe without like going to conclusion about being fearful. And then the other lady's similar sort of things. How do I protect them, but also encourage them to reach for the stars and be all that they be?
Yeah. So that's, and thank you for those questions, because that's a big one. Okay. Like we talked about at the start with protecting your kids. The best protection you can give your kids is, you know, I was about to say condoms, but I'm not going to say that. Birth control. I'm not going to say that. Is awareness. Okay, so you want to be in the question of, okay, if he goes out tonight, is he going to be safe? Yes, no, yes. Okay, good. But also get him to get in the question, and also teach him about, okay, so give him a phone. Okay, buy your kid a phone. If they're teenagers and they're going out, get them a phone. Okay, they're already aware of energy. Okay, so for all of you, if you know when something's not right, you go, something doesn't feel right about this. So do your kids. Okay, teach them when you get that energy of something's not right with this, tell them, call me, I'll come and pick you up. I don't care what time it is, I'll come and get you. But also, you cannot keep your kids safe. Okay, you can only be in the question of, are they going to be safe? Okay, but you've got to be willing to trust that they will know. Okay, and it's an interesting one as a parent, because I still do the same thing. It's like, it's like, for me right now, I'm watching my 14-year-old son go down a path that I can see is not going to work well for him in the future. It's really not easy for me as his father to watch him do that, you know, and I'm watching him go down this path going, okay, what can I do? What can I be different? Nothing. There's nothing I can do to stop him, because he is determined, and like me, stubborn arsehole, is going to do what he's going to do. So I have to be an allowance of that, and I have to be patient with him, and I have to recognize that he can make another choice if he's going to. These are the parts of parenting that are not the fun ones, you know, but the same with that is recognize that your kid will know what to do in the situation if you trust that they will know what to do in the situation. Okay, but you cannot wrap them in bubble wrap. You cannot put GPS trackers on them. That would be illegal. It's like, you know, you can't do all the things that you want to do to protect them, because eventually they're going to go out into the world and they need to know how to protect themselves. Okay, and this is what we have to do as parents, is we have to empower them to know all of this stuff so that they can not only go out into a world and function in it, but go out into a world and dominate it. Okay, and the way they dominate, this world is with their awareness. Okay, and they're not going to get awareness by getting everything right. They're going to fuck up. Your kids, all of them, they're going to make mistakes. You need to be an allowance of those mistakes. You need to be willing for them to make those mistakes and then go, oh, cool, what did that create? Oh, well, I just lost my job, or I just failed my maths test, or I just, you know, whatever. It's like, teach them, okay, what choice did you make that created that? And be prepared for them to ignore you 99% of the time, but still ask them the question. Be willing to be ignored, because they'll have that question forever. It will stick in their heads. So ask him, if you go out tonight, will you be safe? And unless you get a strong no, see, this is the other thing about teaching your kids how to choose. If you get a strong no, that's when you as a parent get to step in and say, you know what, you can't go out tonight. I apologize. I just have a bad feeling about this, and I'd rather you stay home. Can we negotiate? Can you invite all your friends over here? Okay, this is where you as a parent also get to step in when you can see destruction occur. So, what else? Sarah?
I was just waiting to see if anyone had any live questions. Justin would like to know, what about us that don't have kids but have friends with asshole children? Do we stay silent, or can we talk with the child about possibilities and leave the parents out of it?
Does the kid want to hear about possibilities? You know, I don't stay silent around kids unless I have to, but it's like, I'll call a kid out and say, why did you do that? Why would you choose to do that to somebody else? But I don't have a problem with doing that, because it's like, I'd like to see a world where people actually care about each other and are kind to each other. So it's not about stepping in there and saying, I'm going to parent these children, but it's like, it's also seeing where it's like, if a kid's doing something unkind, then tell them they're being unkind. Because oftentimes they've grown up in a family that's taught them how to be unkind. They don't know the difference. And then you say, why would you treat somebody like that? What does that create? That gives them choice. They can either grow up and be assholes, or they could go, wow, I didn't actually see it like that. I didn't mean to upset that person. I'm sorry. In that one moment, you've just changed that whole kid's reality. That's where you've got to be willing to be a leader and go, you know what, that doesn't work. Don't treat people like that. That's not kind. And you'll find that when you have that honesty with yourself, that you're not willing to be subject to unkindness from anybody, let alone children or adult. Children will flock around you. It's like, I find it funny that everywhere I go, children or babies stare at me, and children want to be around me. It's like, because I don't see them as children. I see them as infinite being and manipulative little shits. I see them as highly, highly, highly intelligent. So you got to be willing to see that and be willing to know when you can change something, and also know when you can't. And if you,
yeah,
what's that?
I was just going to say thanks for that, because that I have the same thing. Kids always flock to me, but then I'm like, I'm not allowed to be their parent because their parents have so many judgments. But
yeah, but they flock to you because there's some energy you have that attracts them to you. There's something that you are that attracts them to you. So it's like that could be that this is the only person that can give me the question that's going to change this. So be willing to be that they're attracted to.
Cool. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hi, we have we have a Chinese question from
You guys are going to try and keep me on here all day, aren't you?
Sorry?
I said, you guys are going to try and keep me on here all day, aren't you?
所以你们是想让我在这里跟你们讲一天课是吗？
Okay, what is it?
Okay, so it's like my kid has been in the high school that I work in. She's been studying there for 1 week. Both of us has a lot of pressure. And before she joined this high school that I'm working in, we have a very good relationship, but now it turned out to be such a mess. We two become angry with each other very much. I'm so upset about this. Can you please facilitate me?
What are you angry at? Are you still trying to be her mother while you're at the school? While you're at the school, you're not her mother. You're a teacher. While you're at the school, she's not your daughter. She's a student. If you're still trying to do the mother-daughter game in school, then is that working? Okay, what's the anger?
And there's a couple of other people with their hands up. Oh, yeah. So if anyone else has a question while Yolanda waits for...
Okay,
did she reply yet?
Yes, she's saying the anger is judgment and worry.
Judgment and worry? No, it's not, honey. That's justification for getting angry. Okay, anger. So the thing with anger is, anger, when there's a lie involved, that's when it's appropriate to be angry. Okay, so if you're getting angry and there's a lie there, okay, what's the lie here, spoken or unspoken? If you ask that and it lightens up, then it's because there's a lie there. There's other things with anger that I don't really want to go into right now, but it's like, so if that doesn't lighten it up, ask, okay, so all the distractor implants of anger, POC and POD, right and wrong, good and bad, POD and POC, all 9 shorts, boys and beyonds. Okay, this is, I love you all, but these are, that's going to take me half an hour alone to go into, which I can't do right now. So see if those couple of things work, but also ask, okay, so what am I so angry about here? And every time you ask that, when the energy comes up or the judgment comes up or whatever comes up, POC and POD it. Keep moving through it. Keep asking and keep clearing it.
Brendon?
Yes.
There is a lot of questions at Brazil channel. Can I start?
Sure. And I'm gonna keep this to an hour. So we've got 10 minutes.
Okay, thank you, Brendon. My question is, how could I contribute to my daughter with her resistance to change? You know, she don't. Okay. Oh, plop.
Sorry, you can't.
Okay.
This is all right. The way you contribute to your children changing is never expect them to ever change, because as soon as you expect them to change, they're going to fight against that expectation, and they're going to separate from you, and they're going to reject everything you expect of them. Okay, if you have no expectations and no projections of your children, then they have nothing to fight against with you, and then they get to choose to change if they desire to change. Okay.
Wow. Okay. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Another one that's not the easiest thing as a parent, because you want them to, you want them to choose more, you want them to change, but that's only because you're superior assholes as parents. That's one of the jobs we take on as a parent, is now I'm a parent, so I'm a superior asshole. I know all about that one too, but it's like, No, don't choose that. That's not going to work out. I want you to choose this because I can see this working out because I'm smarter than you. No,
and I
that's
don't want
me.
you to suffer.
Yeah, exactly. That suffering can be one of the greatest sources for change. You got to let your kids suffer. Okay, you have to be an allowance of that suffering because they will learn from it.
Thank you. That was shocking, but I love it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So the first question, someone told me that I should ask my kids to help me to bring money to the classes and other stuff. How can I do that to them without they feel responsible, like they have an obligation or a weight?
Well, you can't make them responsible. They'll only choose to be responsible if they choose to be responsible. But it's not telling them that they have to. It's saying, would you be willing to contribute to this so that we can all go together? Because I love it when you guys are with me when I go to classes. Manipulation. Okay, you got to keep it in the question. Always keep it in a question. It's like when Nash, my son, was younger, I think he was maybe 8, he wanted to travel more. So Simone and I said to him, okay, so would you be willing to contribute to us making more money so that we can be busy? Because we want you to travel more. And as if by miracle, you know, our money flow started increasing because it's like he was willing to contribute his energy to it. So it's not a linear reality with asking your kids for anything. It's recognizing that if they want it, and for most of your kids, they're powerful little shits. They know how to create their lives. Okay, they will have things fall from the sky because they want them. You'll go, why am I giving this to them? Because they're creating it. They're getting into your head and making you give it to them. So it's like, use them. You know, use your kids. They use you. But it's like, ask them, okay, you know what? I love having you at these classes and I can't afford it right now. Would you be willing to contribute to the money showing up? Done.
I'm a daughter of 36 and I spent 15 years long of my family, far from my family, I'm sorry. Today, I have a lot of will to go back and be closer to them, to my family members, moving to the countryside again. My point of view is that this is bad, as if I was going backwards. What's right about it, this that I'm not getting?
Well, is that your point of view or is that your awareness? Does it feel light and fun to move and live there again? Okay, what's your life going to be like in 5 years' time if you move there? Get that energy. Now, what's your life going to be like in 5 years' time if you don't move there? Get that energy. Which one's lighter? Which one seems like more fun?
To go.
Huh?
It's funnier to go back.
Okay, so go. Stop trying to figure it out. Hey, worst case is in 2 months you don't like it and you move again. See, this is where you're not looking for your choices to create a result. You're looking for the awareness that you can get from the choices. Okay, I don't look to my choices as a result I'm going to get. It's like I'm packing up my house right now from the Sunshine Coast, which I've lived here my whole life. Well, the last few years, it's kind of in my wardrobe because I travel everywhere. But it's like I'm packing my house up right now and moving to Houston. Do I know if that's going to work? No. Do I care? No. I can always move again. But I know that I'm going to get more awareness from moving there. And I know that I'm going to get more of me from moving there. What do I desire? More awareness and more of me. So that's what I choose. This is called taking yourself out of the safety zone of life and putting you into the uncomfortable reality of living.
Thank you. She said, smart of me. Thank you. There's another
You're
question. My 40-year-old daughter rarely gets sick, and she now has a really bad sore throat, amygdalitis. Both times she got this way, we were at my parents' house. I perceive her a little bit lost with them putting opinions for everything. How can I be space, and what would bring space here?
Run a bars. Run a bars and teach her about who's this belong to, okay? Because it's not hers. She's pulling it out of them. And okay, let me give you this tip, because this helped me a lot with what I see with a lot of people when it's like you learn all of these tools. It's like, I'll give you guys thousands of questions that it's like, I can give you questions on everything to do with parenting. I can give you different tips on so many things with parenting. And that's why me trying to do this in an hour is like, Jesus. But it's like, but what a lot of people do with that is they go and then they'll go to their kids. Their kids will say, I'm sick. And you'll say, well, who does it belong to with that energy? And your kids say, it's mine. And you go, no, it's not. Who does it belong to? You have just dismissed their awareness. Even if their awareness is a conclusion, it's still theirs to have. Okay, so what you want to do to make it a little easier on yourself is go, don't put it so much in a direct question. When your kids are younger, go, you know what? I realized that I started getting sick when I was around people that are sick. And I started realizing that I was taking it out of their body. And I started learning this thing of who does it belong to? And I noticed that it went away because it wasn't mine. Is any of this yours? Shut up. Okay? You've got to be willing to be that which invites them to the question, show them the question, and then shut up. Don't answer the question. Because what you want to do with empowering your kids to be them, you have to empower them to know that they can choose. Okay, most of us go, well, no, that's not right. You know, you've just stopped them from questioning. Okay, so with her, it's like, and I'm not saying all this to you, that just opened up a broader thing with this, but with her, run her bars and give her a little tiny, she's only 4, so just be like, you could ask her, like, is any of this yours? And see what she says. And if not, you can pock and pod in your head everywhere she's taking that out of everybody else.
Can I teach that tool to my son even if he's just 2 years old?
Mm-hmm. The way you do it with that is by teaching him the energy of it, okay? It's like, be the energy of who does it belong to, because he's looking to you to how to choose.
Okay, gracias.
And tell your kids when you make stupid choices. Don't try and mask it up. Don't try and hide it and put it under the rug so that they can't see it. It's like, I've told my son hundreds of times, maybe thousands of times, oh, that was a stupid choice. That didn't work. What can I choose now? So that your kids know it's okay to make choices that don't turn out the way that everybody thinks they should. There's nothing wrong with that. This is how you become aware. This is how you build the muscle of awareness. Oh, I fucked that up again. Okay, good. What else can I choose? Okay. All right, 2 more questions.
I have a daughter and she has fever and some kind of itch in her body. I'm doing MTVSS with holographic mutation at her.
Okay, how old is she?
She's 4.
Okay, so the thing with, all right, so MTVSS is awesome. You can do that on the immune system. You can do that on the joints. You can do MTVSS epic process. I'm not going to go into it right now. It's like, but one of the things with when kids take on something that's not theirs, you cannot change something that doesn't belong to you. Okay? If you're taking things out of somebody else's body, you cannot change that thing that you've taken out of their body. You can only acknowledge it's not yours so that you can let go of it. Okay, so if you're trying to change something in her that's not hers, but she likes to take it out of other people, it's not going to change. So you got to empower her to the place where she goes, oh, okay. And asks her, do you have this special capacity with the earth? Are you taking any of this out of the planet right now? Does the planet require anything of you? You know, but don't come to conclusion with it. Go, okay, is this yours? Or is it someone else's? Or is it maybe something else's? And don't worry, it's a fever. She's choosing it. She's doing it for something or someone.
Okay. I have a question from Spanish Zoom from Carol. How can I get my X-Men kids to get the divorce process with ease? And how can I get my techie ex to stop bugging?
Good luck with the ex to stop bugging. It's like divorce with ease is stop looking to how do you make it happen yesterday and start looking to, okay, what's required here so that I can have more ease with it. Okay, if he's trying to drag it out and you're trying to get it done now, then he's going to do everything he can to make it drag out because he knows that's what pisses you off. Okay, manipulate him. What can I be or do today to manipulate this man so that I get everything I desire right away? What energy, space, and consciousness can I be to out-manipulate him and get everything show up for me with total ease for all eternity? Right and wrong, good and bad, pod and pock, all 9 shorts, boys and beyonds. And keep running that, because then you'll change the energy of fight into what's going to work. Okay, the universe will contribute to all of you if you're willing to ask the questions. Your kids know how to do it. They know how to control you. Okay, so that's all we're going to do for now. I'd like to ask you guys help for something. It's like with this CPCK stuff, like I said, we'd like to get it out there. I've put up a couple of telecalls, like 2-part Zooms in the last 6 months, and they're just not really, they don't have the numbers on them for me to get on, like to actually do them. So if any of you guys actually desire more on this, or it's like, or a 2-day class in your region, or if you've got any, I don't know, if you've got any ideas of classes or anything like that where you think that people would actually be interested, if you could contact us, would be awesome. If you guys want more on this, let us know, because I'm happy to work for this. I'm happy to get this topic out in the world, because I see that we can have a whole lot more ease with it. And I'd really like to see, you know, parents around the world not judging themselves constantly and actually enjoying their lives, not hating them because they're parents. So if that sounds of interest, let us know. And I'm grateful for all of you guys for this. Thank you so much. Thank you for taking time out and coming on. I hope it was a contribution.
And just quickly, if you guys want to contact Brendon, info@brendonwatt.com and also www.brendonwatt.com. There's 2 classes booked coming up about conscious parents, conscious kids, and Brendon also offers private sessions as well. So
yes, I'm coming to Brazil to do a 2-day class. Yay! Yay! So thank you guys.
Thank you, Brendon.
You're welcome.
Thank you. It was awesome.
Thank you,
Thank
Brendon.
Gracias.
Thank you, Brendon.
Thanks.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye. Bye.
Thank you, Brendon.
Thank you.
Sarah,